What is up, everybody? Welcome to Shotcast episode number 45. We are joined with the lovely Ferra from Team Vitality, the coach of Team Vitality. We are so happy to have him here. We have a bunch of topics to get into. Obviously, the spring major just happened. There's a bunch of other stuff that kind of led up to that as well. You know, Vitality got the 4P, but I want to hear from Ferra himself. Talk to me a little bit about obviously you're happy about the major, but talk to me a little bit about your initial thoughts going into the major beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, I think there were a lot of expectations around us. Obviously, we were like heavy favorites, but on our side, we were more looking at it as aperitif for the World Championship. We
Ah,
were like,
yes.
okay, this is
This is the starter.
yeah,
The
this is a
teaser.
starters, yeah,
Yeah.
starter. We want to see what's what online, see how much we can translate to what we've been doing online, and yeah, see where we stand against North America and the other regions with the scrims beforehand and stuff, and get ready for Worlds because all in all of this season we were telling ourselves even before the split and stuff like that. The main goal is World Championship. So major is nice. It's an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience, but yeah, the end goal was the and it still is the World Championship. So we were trying to get ready for it.
Did you guys did boot camp? I can't remember the exact date, but you were over there for quite a while, right?
Yeah, we arrived on the Tuesday before. So like I'd say 10 days before the competition started, and we boot camp for like 5 days or something. And yeah, which is all like I think we found a good routine for preparing the each LAN. That did work pretty well for San Diego. That worked pretty well for Boston, and we're gonna do the same for Düsseldorf. But it's gonna be a bit different because it's in Europe, so there won't be as much time needed for us to adapt. But yeah, I think we found a great template, I'd say.
Did Zen have a guardian? Was one of his parents with him or something? I didn't actually see it.
No. Like his guardian was technically like one of Vitality's staff, but his mom and his brother came to Boston the week after to see him play, and Alpha's parents were there as well. So those are the guys you see us hanging around with the trophy after the celebration.
But they weren't at the boot camp. They were like
no, they arrived yeah a week after.
The reason I asked that, because he's very. I feel like he deals with the pressure and stuff. I'm just thinking like, what's his support network and he seems so mature for his age, Zen.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised. I think it's the fact that he's been doing it for very long time already. He's been playing at a very high level, since he's 13, and he's always been around. I'd say more mature people. He's hanging around with the Rocket Baguette guys very often, and I guess they took care of him at his beginnings when he would come to Paris and get his first LAN victories and stuff like that. So yeah, he's pretty impressive. But I think he's been used to all of the pressure and all of the attention around him for at least a couple of years already, and it helps him very well right now, I think.
Now, talk me through the boot camp scrims, because I was talking to some other players, some other teams, and they were saying, this Vitality, this doesn't feel like online Vitality. They maybe a little bit
Really?
weaker. They weren't quite as on. Was it the same feeling for you or not?
No, we were pretty confident. We did get challenged a bit more than in Europe, surprisingly. I feel like there were a couple of teams that surprised me and that had really good, a really good showing against us. But I wasn't too surprised because it just felt like every time we were going to a scrim, the team in front of us was like playing their lives out. So we always do, but it's funny to see like now we're like the big dogs, and even in scrims, everyone is like 100% try harding. So it's great practice for us. So yeah, sometimes we had, I wouldn't say bad days, but we had a couple of unsuccessful scrims, but they weren't worrying because we knew what we were doing wrong, and each time we were adapting. So nothing worrying about the scrims, and then we are like coming into the major wheel like pretty confident. Yeah.
Are you guys? Oh, did you guys lose to Elevate in scrims? Was that correct? I think
No, it was
What?
power.
Oh, was
it
it
was
power?
power.
We didn't play them. We were
Oh,
gonna
okay,
play
never
them
mind.
on stage, so
Forget about it.
we were not gonna play
So with your scrims, are you? Everyone else was tryharding. Are you one of the teams, Ferra, that's always tryharding in scrims, or like trying different tactics? Because there's this space station lineup that's all about they never win scrims, but they're always seemingly trying something else, and they're never really fully playing their A game. Are you guys working on stuff, or just just playing it?
We work on stuff, but we try to win. We try to win. So we take everything extremely serious, but we also use them as the practice field. So if we have something in mind, we just try it there.
Was there any teams that you thought would perform better or even a lot better at the LAN based on the strength of obviously you knew all the EU teams, but what about the other teams from other regions who underperformed after you saw them in scrims?
Ferra. I expected them to be better, but I think the pressure that they had the World Championship on the line got to them. I mean, that's my explanation, but I don't know, because they were pretty solid. I think they were like on our side, like from our point of view, they were like one of the better North American teams at LAN, and I was surprised they got beat by most, to be honest. So, and they finished top 16. So yeah, I was surprised by that.
When you say one of the better North American teams, who are the better North American teams?
Well, I mean, I guess no. I think there is a clear top two with Genji and Complexity. But yeah, I expected Furia to be with them, kind of, in the conversation. But they seem to struggle to translate what they're doing, or to be consistent. I think consistent is more accurate, because like we've screened them I think a couple of times, and one time they were like meh, and the other time they were like pretty really really good. So yeah.
So to talk about the actual event itself, well, maybe before we get to the event, but thoughts on Boston? How was Boston? Wait, where did you boot camp actually? Did you boot camp in Boston?
Yeah, in I think the town is called Foxborough.
Okay,
so
maybe
it's like very near.
Remembers.
It's very near Boston. It's where there is a stadium there where actually Ed Sheeran had a concert. And we boot camped at the oxygen facilities, which are pretty much at that stadium. So it's like
the Patriots play there. That sounds like
a
sports
exactly
team
of some kind. And it's I think it's 40 minutes away from Boston, like downtown. So we rented a car and we drove around.
This is all starting to add up a little bit. You guys waving the U.S. flag. The Patriots where you played at boot camp. I think something else is going on here.
Okay, what's your thoughts on Boston as a city? You've been to a few places in America now. You've been to a few places in North America. How does it compare to the other places you've been?
It's pretty unique. Like it's very industrial. Like so, it's like every building is like red brick.
Oh, the brick. Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah, it's brick colored, and I don't know. In a way, I like it, but I don't think I'll be able to live there for a very long time. It's like, I don't know. I had a weird feeling about the city. I like it, but it's, the landscape isn't. It's original, but it's not really to my liking, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair.
That makes sense.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I think it's like it was probably my favorite. What do we say, John? I think it was like the most livable city that I've
seemed
been
like
to
the most livable city we've been to in America, but we've only been to a few mostly big cities, and it seemed like the most livable because East Coast time zone is way better. It was walkable. There seemed to be public transport, lots of trees. I like the brick buildings actually. I thought the architecture was more interesting than the usual like glass, metal, and plastic like buildings that you get to see most of the time. But
yeah, I get your point. It's just I don't know. I don't like it.
It wasn't anything like France though, so I could see your problem with it. Yeah, it was not French at all. They did have outside restaurants though. There was some outside seating restaurants. That's very French.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, right. True. That was surprising. That was great.
It's good that there are very sketch areas. Name me one American city that is not. There are some sketch areas
or just
in
any big city anywhere
city
that doesn't have sketch areas. Yeah, I feel like it's pretty good. I'd like to go back. I'd love to go back. I was actually just talking on my own stream about I'd love to go literally back to the same arena as well. I thought that arena was perfect for Rocket League. Very good acoustics for Rocket League. So yeah, just next time put some Carbon Corp Ultras in there, see what they can do. Bring the drums. I want to hear the drums in there. Bring some Vitality Ultras as well. Do you have Ultras for Vitality?
Yeah, we do.
Are they bringing them to Worlds?
The Hornets.
Yeah, I think there's like 200 or 300 of them like coming to Düsseldorf.
Oh, that's sick.
That's awesome.
I've heard that there's 600 Ultras and then like 250, 300 Vitality. I don't know, what are the Hornets? Is that what you guys are? The Hornet Army?
Yeah, Golden Hornets.
The Golden Hornets.
Golden Hornets.
Yeah.
This
so
is sick. I hope that's
crazy.
yeah. I want to see more teams do this. This is like the dream for esports, actually.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the like one of the most like unique sports event there ever was. I think. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I hope the organization Sonic CSL is ready for what's gonna happen because yeah,
it's gonna be well.
Hopefully, like they let in all the signs and stuff, and like it's not security. Don't sometimes they don't let in any big signs or stuff like that.
Big flags.
Big flags.
I love the massive flag in Rotterdam. That's sick. But to rewind back to the major, you've got the unenviable stat, Ferra. You and Vitality now have the unfortunate statistic of being the first team that APAC have beaten this year in a game. So you got the series win 3-1, but you lost the game. Realize was popping off. He's dropping 900 points. What was going through your head when Elevate were actually playing, I think, very well? I was impressed.
That was a great overtime.
Yeah. They were playing great. They were playing on their strength because I think they knew they couldn't, beat us. Playing all game kind of thing. So they went into it like pretty defensive and it worked somewhat. I think we lacked efficiency in front of the net. To be honest, we had a lot of chances we didn't score.
True.
So yeah, but. Yeah, I think at some point during the game 3, I was like, "Oh, this is not this is a bit unexpected." Because losing a game is fine, but like, yeah, after the third game and like during the overtime, I was like, "I hope we don't lose this because it's going to be really, really tough to come back."
Yeah, it's going to be stressful. Yeah, because I saw Alpha really stressed after that overtime. He was like trying to shake himself awake or something. He was like, "What is going on? This is so much harder than it should be." But I genuinely think APAC played well. They like made it very difficult.
Well, yeah. For us, they played well, yeah. Realize is a great player. He should genuinely move out and I don't know, go to NA, find a team there. He could probably make major there.
Why NA? Was that? Did you just pick a random region or?
You just picked a random region. I'm pretty sure. No reason.
So you had the Elevate series 3-1, and so obviously I don't want to go back, but you had the boot camp, everything's smooth. You get to the event, you've got 1 day of practice, you've got media, and then you've got the first series against Elevate. Was everything like smooth sailing at this point? Was it just one series at a time? Was there any point in this lead up or up to this first series where you were sort of doubting? You had your doubts about the team or anything like that?
Nah, I mean there was no doubting, but the issue was like we knew our bracket was like really tough, so I think like our minds were, settled towards the second series, and we expected to play. I mean, not really, but like we were like, okay, if we play Liquid, it's gonna be hard because in best of 5 it's not that we're not comfortable, but like the longer the series is, the best it's at our advantage, right? If it's a best of 7, there is less variance. So getting to that run and being a best of 5 was scary, and we knew it was like one of the most important series of the whole tournament for us.
So was there sorry, I was gonna say, is there any sort of like relief when you saw it wasn't Liquid and you saw complexity instead?
No, not really. Like we were like. Beforehand, I told the team and everyone around us were like, it's gonna be 50-50. Like we get Liquid or we get complexity, but they seem to be pretty equal. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like I would bet on Liquid, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if complexity won. And to be fair, I think close, it ended up being like extremely close. I think Liquid was winning with like 10 seconds left, the game 4,
Yeah.
and they were gonna win 3-1, and then they lost. So yeah, it could have been either way.
So
But,
you drop the game to complexity. Oh, sorry, you drop the game to elevate. Then you play complexity. You're 2-1 down in that series. Is there some point you're thinking, are we any good? Like, what's going on here? We
No.
dropped the game to APAC, and then your backs are against the wall round 2 against complexity. Were you worried at that point, or you?
I mean, yes and no, but as I said, it's a learning experience. If we lose, we lose. That's fine. We cannot go into every event thinking we're going to win everything. It's unsustainable. That's what we've been doing, yes, but it still is unsustainable. So sometimes you need to lose to learn. So I'm not afraid of that. And I mean, obviously the player might be a little bit more scared. I think they have less experience, and they're playing, so they really want to win. But like from my perspective and from an outside, I'm like, if we lose, that's fine. We still have a chance. It's not single elim, it's double elim. We over the past 3 months we've lost, and that was before the tournament. We've lost 1 competitive series. I'm not scared of losing once. I know we can run through the lower bracket. So I was, in order to go far and not taking as much risk, we needed to advance and win. But as long as we're in the tournament, I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
And you knew that BDS was sort of looming after that series. Obviously, they had the Rule 1, which, they could have lost. But I think BDS, I don't know, you didn't really mention them in the boot camp scrims and stuff, but from all reports, Rise was saying they were firing in scrims in the boot camp. They were locked in. He was super confident. So did you sort of feel like this upper semi was you were destined to play BDS? This was always going to happen?
No, same as for Liquid Complexity. I felt like BDS would end up there, but I would not be surprised if, I don't know, Rule 1 would be there instead. Like I would have bet on BDS obviously, but yeah, and yeah, they were good in scrim. But to be fair, they've been good in scrims the whole season, even with extra. Like they have always been good. Their issue is more like translating it into LCS performance. So yeah, I don't know. I don't take their scrim results too seriously. They
Reddit
play
does.
good. They can't play really good, but yeah.
So what happened in that series then? Obviously, that was the first time you faced them in the tournament. How'd that pan out for you guys? And maybe give us a little, the series itself and then the aftermath of the series for you guys.
Yeah, I mean the series itself. I think the first game was not series defining, but yeah. I think the first game we were in control for most of the time, and it was 0-0, like we couldn't score, which was pretty reminiscent actually from our previous 2 series, Complexity or Elevate, and we lose in overtime, and then they take the lead very early on in the game 2, and we concede on kickoff goals, which is unusual recently for us. So it was like, yeah, the players weren't playing good. Like none of them was. I mean, all of them were like missing touches they usually don't. So pretty much everything fell apart from there, and it was really hard to get the gears going. We tried really hard, but yeah, nothing quite worked like we expected. And PDS was playing really really good, and yeah, they beat us, and we had 1 hour to reset and yeah. Try
Well,
to
were you
get
worried
back
about that?
back
Because
ourselves.
you had to play later again. Was that a concern that you've got 1 hour, then you've got to play again against a team who've already won a match earlier the same day?
Yeah, I think yeah, the fact that it was not even 1 hour, it was just like 1 series in between. That was a bit scary, especially after I've seen the players, and they were like really distraught by the loss. Like they really took it to heart, and yeah, we had to talk a lot and to reassure them, made them realize it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, because as I told you guys, like it's unsustainable to win everything, and at some point we were gonna lose. But I think as a player, you just don't want to hear it. So we had to remind everyone that, and even if we were making top 6 and we were losing to Genji, I was fine. Like that was fine. We were still gonna have our chances at the World Championship. We were gonna have to, discuss and reanalyze everything and what went wrong. But top 6 was still a better result that we did at San Diego. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I was a bit worried, and then the first game happened against Genji, and I was like, okay, not worried anymore.
Yeah, it was quite easy, but were you also at all concerned? I mean, we'll talk more about the crowd later, but the crowd were heavily for Genji because Genji were the last NA team in the tournament at the time. Chronic, the last American player. Everybody was, trying to get Chronic to run for president, pretty much. Yeah, you guys walked out. I thought it was so funny. I was like, I've criticized crowds for like booing certain teams in the past. I'm like, that's just harsh. They're booing 15-year-olds who are just here to try and have a good time. But you guys walked out, the bad guys, to just a whole arena like, yeah, you guys suck. You're gonna lose. And it's the best region. Come on, Genji. Yeah, the boos were. I thought that time I was like, that's kind of funny because the crowd at that point they were desperate. They're like, please, NA, do something. We're gonna help all we can.
I definitely felt that way as well. It's like I remember one time, and I think I was against Yurizo season 4 in Washington, and I remember playing you in the lower bracket. I think that was top 6, and we were playing for top 4, right? And
that
I remember
was
like the crowd.
Wait,
I remember this. Yeah,
PSG.
Yeah, it was
G2
top 4. It was top 4. Yeah,
and like we were getting booed, and like back then, like I was really young, and Chaussette and Bluey were like extremely young, and I think like that killed all of the momentum we had and everything we had, because like it was just really hard. Like these guys, they came to an event just to boo us, and it felt like they hated us. That was weird. But like here, it was different. It was like, I mean, they have one team left. They might have.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
That's fine. But still, I do feel like them booing the players was like the worst thing they could have done, because like I've seen the players and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna beat them so hard," and they were like, "Okay," like the boost like that really motivated everyone, and that was the worst thing they could have done for them to win the series, to be honest.
Yeah, I think like there's always comparisons to like real sports with like, it's just part of like sports culture to boo. I'm like, well, there's a difference between basketball players or whatever else sports players like making hundreds of millions, tens of millions. They're like adults. They do this for a job, and they're surrounded by like support staff, like psychologists, media training. They're like a 15-year-old Rocket League player is like, wow, my first LAN, I'm so excited to be here. Boo! Like, it's not the same. It really is not the same. So I don't know. I don't think that just saying it's part of the culture, therefore it's okay, that doesn't really work. It's very, very different. But I did think it was quite funny for your guys specifically, because I was like, NA really just has to pull all the stops here, because it is the last.
I genuinely have this exact same opinion. It's like it's 15 years old. Like, come on, like
I think.
But like some players do play the villain.
Game,
like
just let it.
Com plays the villain. You guys were definitely the villains on that day. Like some teams play the villain. Like they asked the crowd to do it again. Like that's fine. But I think if just a young player comes out, waves at the crowd, and they get booed back, it's like that's a bit of a weird interaction. Like, come on, bit cringe.
Well, don't you think? Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I was listening, right, and I think like the analyst, the desk, kind of drove that villain, because I don't think Vitality actually did it. Yeah. I don't think Vitality did anything to actually beat the villains besides win stuff. You know what I mean?
They did win everything.
Con did stuff to be a villain. But I don't think Vitality did anything.
So they won everything. They won all the events. So that's like already everybody wants to see you lose because you haven't lost. So
you guys should have got second instead. Then you wouldn't have been booed.
Yeah, exactly. Coming as underdogs.
I feel like we've been winning everything, but we've been winning what three regionals. Like what's 3 regionals? It's not even one LAN. Come on, let us go to one LAN. Let us get worlds first.
Yeah, what's 3 regionals? Why not make it 3 more? I mean, come on.
It's like, come on, at least let us win worlds, then you can boo us. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe another one. We'll give you 2 lads. Maybe 3. Come on, give us 3. I respect it.
I mean, that was pretty much your speech. It was like, all right, guys, like I know you guys don't like us, but like, give us the first series. You can in the second series you can go for BDS, but just please give us the first one.
Genius. Give us a bracket reset. We all like bracket resets in here. Come on, give us that. Then you can go back to supporting BDS. But by then they were like so used to supporting you, they just rolled with it the whole time. I guess we should talk about that though.
Yeah,
so
let's
It was at this point in the LAN that you decided to pull out the American Vitality card or the NA Vitality card in the post-match interview. You ripped the mic ruthlessly from Subi's hands. What was going through
It
your
was
head?
a struggle. It was a struggle for a while. It was a bit of a back and forth. You were like, give it here.
Did you talk about that with anyone beforehand? Did you talk to any of the Vitality guys, the players, about what you were planning, or is that like improvised?
All right. That was a long. Okay, so I don't remember if I thought about this like the previous night or in the morning, but when I woke up, I was like, all right, if we make it to the finals, I'm pretty sure this is what I want to do. So I sent a message to my staff saying, I got a crazy idea. Can I go to your room? And we don't talk about it to the players. Like we don't mention it to the players at all. And then we talk about it, and we realize there is at least 3 things that we need to make sure. So it's like, well, first, I said 3, but I don't know how many. It's like we had a couple of things in mind, a checklist, let's say. So we had to make the finals. Okay, so that's the given. We have to find an American flag, and we thought that was going to be the easy part.
Yeah.
Because we're in America, but yeah, apparently it's not. We have to have an interview between the
lower final and the final.
The lower final and the final, and I have to do it. And like they have to let me do this, right? It's like it's a bunch of stuff, and I don't know. I wasn't sure if I would even get the opportunity to do it. But then the whole day I was just how do we say, like trying my luck everywhere I could. So I would see Rittles and I would go to him. Hey, do you know if I can like get an American flag? And it's like 10 in the morning or like 11. Like, can I get an American flag somewhere? Or like look for one. And then every time I would see a caster, I would mention this. And I don't think I would tell the whole story, but every time I was like, just find me an American flag. Find me an American flag.
We didn't ask any questions. We didn't ask. We're like, if Ferra needs an American flag, that's all we need to know. Fine.
A little bit weird, but we'll go with it.
And when we came on stage before the series against K-Corp, the admin is like, hey, because I already did the interview after Rule 1, right? I already did the interview after Rule 1, and he's coming up to me and he's like, all right, we need someone for the interview, and it cannot be you. And I look at him and I'm like, no, like no, like no, the players that don't like, they really wanted one player, and I was like, no, like I'm doing it. The players aren't gonna do it, and here is the plan. And I explained the plan to him, and he's like, okay, let me talk to production, and I'll get back to you. And then so we win the series, very close, and then I try to find my staff, because my staff I spent, I don't know, like we had at least 3 people like doing shops around the building for like an hour or something, and they couldn't find a flag. So I'm like, you can see me on the camera. I'm like making a flag sign to my staff, and they're like, we don't have one, and we don't have one. And I'm looking around. I'm telling Subit I'm gonna have to like pull up the trade card, and we talk quickly beforehand on like what's gonna happen during the interview, and then it happens, right? So
yeah, I thought it was genius. I thought it was a stroke of genius. There was also the other interview where you said to the American audience, so you're probably quite sad right now, all your teams are eliminated. In hindsight, that probably was a good thing, because I don't think Gen G were going to go all the way. Even if they beat you, I don't think they were winning the event. So if they made it to the last day, I think there would have been a moment where they get eliminated, and the crowd would have been so sad, because suddenly their Cinderella run ends, and it's just the saddest moment ever, and the grand final will probably suck.
But they had a day to sleep on it.
Because they got eliminated the day before. You did the post-match interview. You appealed to the crowd. They probably went home, thought about it, and like, yeah, we do still have another day. We might as well enjoy ourselves. And it worked. It actually worked so well. So like your thoughts to the American crowd there seemed to be very, I think, accurate, very potent.
I don't know, because like when I woke up the Sunday morning, I wasn't sure like if a lot of people were gonna show up, because I expected a lot of people to not come for some reason.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We were the same.
And
we were like,
and
we
when
don't know what to expect.
When I arrived and when I started watching the first game, the winners finals, I saw the crowd was pretty much even like bigger than the last day, so I was pretty happy about it, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. Like this is gonna work. This is gonna be fun.
So you sort of mentioned it during your speech, like, it's the lower bracket run, it's a bracket reset. You need all the help you can get. But was there any other thoughts behind it? Did you think the team really needed that push from everyone else? Like what?
Yeah, definitely. Like it was actually, there was a lot of thought behind it. Like I didn't just like woke up and had a crazy idea to make myself put myself in a good spot. That wasn't. I mean, sure, it worked, but that wasn't the number one goal. Number one goal was just helping us get the win, because like if we get to the finals, I know the players are going to be exhausted, and I know that because so I talked about it on my stream last week, but that was in French, so so I repeat it. But in Gnarly One, if you guys remember that event, so the Toronto LAN, I played that LAN and we made the finals, but through the lower bracket, and we actually got a bracket reset. But the thing is, we had pretty much no staff around us. We were pretty young. We were unprepared. We arrived on Thursday for an event that was happening like 2 days after in Canada. We were jet lagged. We were really tired, and that was our like. The bracket reset was our third series, and the final was our third series, and the bracket reset was going to be our fourth. And I still to this day remember, like I'm in a major final event pretty much. We win the bracket reset, like not the first match, I mean, and then I'm thinking, like I'm physically and like mentally done. Like I won the win, but I just want this to be over, like as soon as possible. Like I can't, like it's so hard. Like my teammates, they were not getting hyped anymore. Like it was so hard to get energy from everywhere, and like there was a little crowd, right? A very little crowd, and they were obviously not cheering for us. They were cheering for Cloud9. So that was even worse, right? And so when I woke up that morning, I was like, I know it's going to be hard, okay, but we have to take it one series at a time. So if we make top 3, it's better than top 4. Fine. So we make top 3. It's better than top 4. It was a long series, lots of overtime, very tiring. We have to play again. Best of 7. Game 7 overtime. Again, very long series, very exhausting. So like I knew if we make it to this point, we have to win 2 series to just like make another step, right? If we win one series and lose another one, it's not going to be enough. The thing is, if the players they start to get into, I don't know, some kind of how to say, like weird mood where you're like tired and not as competitive as before, we're not going to win, and we might win the bracket reset, but I mean the first series, but we might struggle to the end. So I wanted to maximize our chances and get something new for the final, so just so the players can experience something new and be like, okay, like this is different. Let's forget about fatigue. Let's be hyped. It's a major finals, and sure, we have 2 series to win. It's very long. It's like, it's so hard. You win the first one and you're like, okay, we have to do it all over again. But at least there was something, I don't know, new and exciting, and they could actually forget about everything else. And I think it helped. They were like not stressed outside of the crucial moments, the clutch moments.
Zen was
like,
just waving the flag after every
in
game.
the middle of a game, flag out.
Like the whole plan was just for us to think about something else and forget about fatigue and forget about nerves, and it worked, and I was happy. I mean, and everything in my mind was like working to perfection pretty much, and I was like so happy, because not only that, but I was like, okay, so this is the main goal, right? This is the main goal, and then all of the stuff that comes with it are just like pluses, but they're great pluses. That means Vitality is gonna probably have, like, I don't know, some kind of fan base here in the US, like new fans. Their social media is gonna be I don't know, popping up for the day. The players, they're gonna have fun, and like they're gonna have a memorable experience. Me too. So like that's important, because there is lands where you're in front of the crowd, but you don't really it's like you're
Remember,
not, right? So it's like I wanted it to make it rememberable, and like for not just for them, but also for the crowd, because as I said, like I don't know, it's my community. I want the event to be good, and if everyone has fun, it's great also for me, right? I've been there. Like it's not my first event. I know dead cross, they don't look good on camera. It's not. I don't know. It's not fun for anyone. So I don't know. Everything about it was just like so
and most
positive.
importantly, Ferra, it tilted BDS. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and also that like and because when I got the sign, because the thing is when you're backstage you cannot hear the interview, and I really kept it under wraps until the last moment. Even the players, like when I did the interview, they didn't know about it. Like they had to, like I had to announce them what was happening in the break between the two series. But when I came back to the room, I was going with my sign, and I walked in front of the BDS guys, and I looked at them, and I had my sign, and I was like, oh shit, they can't see it. Like they can't see it. They have to. It has to be at the last moment possible
That's
for
to be
them.
shocked.
And yeah, it has to be like they're going on stage and they're going to look at us waving our flags and be like, what even are they doing? And like be confused. Like the whole point was just like us, like focused on us, but also if that could like make them lose focus or make them like, I don't know, have other thoughts that just the game, then good, perfect. If that tilts them, it's another great thing. Like perfect, honestly.
Did you get any backlash online for this? Because I saw some tweets about in French from you, and I didn't see any of them, but backlash if there was any. But I imagine you did if you were tweeting the things you tweeted. But do you want to give us the short story there? What happened? What was the reception in France about American flags?
I mean, overall, I think that the reception has been like overwhelmingly positive, like from fans around the world and French fans. But it has been widely regarded as a traitor move by fans from not France, but from K-pop and from BDS, who are like, well, that's pretty.
Copium.
That's pretty. What's the English word for it? It's like that's disgraceful. That's disgrace. That's a disgrace. Like chill out. Like chill. Like it's not that deep. It's fun. It's games. Like we're playing a game. We're playing a video game. It's not that deep. And yeah, I've been, so as I said in my tweet, I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been here before the rivalry even existed. There was no K-Cup. There was no Vitality. I've carried the French flag pretty much my whole career. Sometimes on stage and stuff like that. It's not because one time I'm waving around an American flag that I'm American. I'm still French, and that's it. But I do respect the culture, a country that welcomed me probably 15 times. I like the people here. I have a lot of friends here. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like I don't see it as some kind of like a very important event to wave a flag.
It's
I
not
feel
that
like
deep.
It isn't.
It's I don't know. Yeah, it's not that deep, and it's like a show of respect also. It's like, yeah, you like the country, you like being here. Sure, like
also no,
like
the Karmine Corp and BDS fans have to realize that there have been full EU finals in America before, like a long time ago in RLCS, and the crowd was so sad that the American teams didn't make the final. So like to have any team to cheer for is a good thing for the event. It's good for Rocket League. It's good for the spectacle. Good for the crowd. Good for the viewers online. It's just good for the game. So they should be like pandering to the audience as well. Obviously, they can have national pride. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just better. They have to realize it was a better product. If it was just Vitality versus BDS in the final, Vitality versus Karmine Corp in the lower final with the crowd, not really caring, that would be boring for the players. That would be like the worst experience.
And there is one thing. So I'm gonna turn this question back to you. But would you be able to? I mean, I can't, but like I'm gonna ask you. Like, would you be able to quote? Like to list every, because I've seen the stats recently, like how many bracket resets and how often they happen on that. But like, do you happen to be able to list them? And I'm gonna add something after each one.
So you
will understand my like.
Ago. Yeah, initially they used to happen in the old days a lot more. Flipside Season 2 did it.
Yeah.
So there was Northern Gaming Season 3.
Wait. Let me get into it. Flipside Season 2. Who was the crowd behind? So it was in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, right? Flipside Season 2.
Yeah, they were the crowd favorites.
Flipside. Okay. Northern Gaming.
Northern Gaming season 3.
It was in LA. No one cared. So there was no advantage.
Then the
next
season
one
4,
was
season
Cloud9.
5 there was. Season 5 did it. Dignitas did it as well, actually.
Oh,
that was
season 5 did
reset
it
win.
in London. In London.
EU.
So against Energy. So the crowd was somewhat behind.
That was actually both.
There,
the crowd
it was pretty
both.
even, but it was not against one team, right? It was not against one team.
No, against.
Season 6, Cloud9 heavily. Heavily, the crowd was heavily behind them. Then Moist failed to do it against G2.
Yeah.
And the crowd was behind G2. And then Moist did it against Falcons, and the crowd was behind Moist. Like, I feel like at this point, it's not really a coincidence. It's just like with such a, tough format, it just helps. Like it just helps.
Yeah, the bracket reset especially. Yeah, you need it for like the additional adrenaline, the additional like motivation. But yeah, it used to bracket resets actually used to happen more for a second reason, in my opinion, as well. That was that there were simply less games, not only throughout the event as a whole, but it used to be best of 7s would only start in the lower final.
Yeah.
It used to be best of 5 for the third, fourth place match. So right now, best of 7s start in 6th place and top 6. It used to just be top 3 that would play best of 7. So the start of the day, you'd have a best of 5, then you do best of 7.
I think the difference back then was also sometimes it was only 2 days event, so you had the whole top 6 being played. So you had like you have one more series to play. I think the Cloud9 run started the day being top 6. I think
that event would have been a 3-day event. I'm pretty sure it was 2 days for the first few seasons. So yeah, Flipside had to play maybe one more, but yeah, I think it was 3 days by Cloud9. They had to play.
Yeah.
They 3-0'd Chiefs in third, fourth. Then
they beat
4-1. Yeah. Well, they beat you on day 2 or day 1? Day 2.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't care.
Yeah, they beat CJ's team. Then they beat NRG in a crazy game 5. Then I think they beat Flipside. I think that was also game 5. And I believe it was 3-0 against Chiefs, 4-1 against Sweden Girls, then 2 4-1s against Dignitas. I think
a bit shorter.
I think that's what it was.
But the crowd is it's still a massive help.
If I got all that right, by the way, I don't want anyone to tell me that I'm a Cloud9 hater, because like I could CJ could attest. We were actually the biggest Cloud9 fans in the grand final.
Oh yeah,
for season 6.
We just wanted the best spectacle. It was kind of like you guys winning. Is like it was the best. I don't know, but I think we just want the crowd, and it was good for you because it just meant the crowd was going to have a good time. You, as you said, made a memorable experience for everyone involved. And you won your team the game. And lastly on this, 2 more. I just want to ask you, you did the speech and stuff, and everyone was like, yeah, but did you really expect that amount of overwhelming support? Like it was louder than when Gen G was still in the tournament. Like, did you expect everyone to get behind it when you walked out on stage for the final?
Can I be honest? Yeah, like I really everything was just like following the plan, and I really expected that to happen, to be honest. Like, I don't know. When I woke up that morning, I was like, if we make it this far, like, this is going to happen. This is going to be so great. Like, this is going to happen. I was so confident about it.
Do you think...
you go,
do you think that, like, now that you did that, and basically what you all just said with like the crowd being on your side, that like World is gonna be like a pandering fest where people are just gonna try to please just coaches just nailing interviews, and all the players are just like, please root for us, we're gonna be the ones that take them all down.
Every team's just gonna have an assortment of flags, like wait, which flag is it? French, German, we need to forget it. The Dutch flag probably having a look.
That's the thing. I think for me, like, I'm gonna ask you guys a question, especially you, Johnny. I think you have an answer for that, but I feel like I would not have done it if the context wasn't there, right? Like, I did it because we were coming from the lower bracket. I would not have done it on the upper bracket because it's different, right? Like, we already have a pretty big disadvantage needing to win like 2 series after playing 2 already. So I just wanted to have an extra help. And also, I would not have done it if an NA team was in the finals, right? Like, I would be like, yeah, fair enough, just like cheer for your team, it's fine. But like, since I guess no one had any touch to any team, I was like, yeah, it's the crowd is there for the taken. It's like, it's free real estate.
Actually free real estate.
And
do you have a question? You said.
Yeah. I wonder, because I thought about it afterwards, because like for me the whole day was like, okay, I just have to talk to as many people as I know, and I didn't pull all of the strings I needed because like I felt like it was gonna happen, but I still had some in my pocket, right? If I felt like it would not be able, if it would not be possible, I would have, I don't know, done something so that it would have happened anyway. The thing is, I wanted to ask because I feel like if any other coach had the same idea, would have they been able to do it, or was I able to do it because I don't know? Well, first off, I've been here for a long time, so I know the ins and outs, and I kind of know how to like what happens for the production and who to ask, and like instead of like just like coming into it as like a just brand new stuff. And on the other hand, the production trusted me, right? Because when I thought the admin that there was a chance he was going to be like, I just know, like we're not doing the interview. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing it, but maybe I don't know, someone else than me would not have been able to do it. And I wanted to
well,
ask
out
that
of all
journey.
the EU teams, because NA teams don't have to do it. Obviously, they've got their home crowd already. I feel like all of the like other regions wouldn't have to do it either because they're automatically underdogs. So it'd be quite easy to just go up and be like, "Hey, NA's like Rule 1 coach could just be NA's eliminated. Mina has NA in it." If you think about it, root for us, yay! That'd be like it's not as difficult, but yeah, you've got like Eversax, Mew.
Look, what he wants
Mew
to be,
maybe
I don't know.
he's got the
my
charm, Ferra. You know, absolutely.
charm.
Everyone got you behind it. You're a beautiful man. Your voice is sexy.
It's not what I
They
meant.
heard it. They got behind
Angelic, really.
It's
Yeah,
not what I meant.
yeah.
It's more like maybe they would not have given the chance to someone else. You know, it's like I don't know because they trust. You know, when I think
the production. You mean
about the mic thingy? Well, like,
I think production would have trusted like if another coach approached them and was like, "Hey, like, can we do this or can I do this?" I think they would. I think they would allow that too.
Because I wondered, like, I was pretty confident it's gonna work, but afterwards, and when I saw the tweets and when I talked to people, I was like, maybe I was a bit too confident about it, and maybe it's because it's me and not someone else. Like that's not been here for a long time, right?
They would probably do it and be like, "Oh, I hope this isn't cringe," and they probably did it with you as well, where you're like, "I'm gonna grab the mic and I'm gonna do this," and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, good luck, buddy," and then you did it, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's amazing! Like that was perfect."
If you've never if someone has never done an interview before, hasn't really talked to production at all, doesn't put themselves out there, that's like much harder for production and like for the broadcast team to really back it and say, yeah, that's going to work, because we've literally never seen if we've never seen an interview from a player or a coach, we're like, well, we don't know if that's going to work at all. If they ask us, do you guys think it's a good idea? We'd be like, probably no, because they've never done an interview before. Don't give them the mic. But I think, yeah, isn't it like one of the rules about being a stage interviewer? You're never supposed to let go of your mic.
Yeah.
But I'm glad Subi did. I'm glad he broke the rule there because it was
I
better.
didn't know about that rule, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's a
every
rule about
interview's
mic.
told, yeah, you hold on
when
to
you
it,
lose the
you
mic,
don't lose it. Yeah.
Once you lose the mic, you have no control anymore. You can't talk to the broadcast. You can't talk to the audience if you have one mic and you lose it. So it's like a rule not to do that. But I'm glad he broke the rule. I think it was better to give it to you after a little fight.
I mean, he had no choice. I would not have let it go. I would not have let it go.
Absolutely. No, it was perfect. It worked out absolutely phenomenally. And obviously you got the win, you got the crowd behind you. And as you said, it'll be interesting to see when you guys go back to North America perhaps next season, if you'll still have the fans, the residual fans from it.
Yeah, I think they will. I like to think they will, at least. I think that not only has Vitality gained NA fans, I really do believe they gained NA fans. I mean, they're waving American flags. It's genius. So yeah, they're probably getting American fans. But I think also I've got to think that a lot of the viewers went through the same kind of thought process as the crowd did. All of the NA viewers watching on Saturday, like, oh my goodness, we have no teams. That sucks. Then they wake up the last day like, oh well, still going to watch and try and enjoy it. And they realize, wait, this is enjoyable. This is actually fun. When you actually put an effort into enjoying, world-class Rocket League, you can enjoy it. It doesn't really matter where the teams are from. It doesn't matter if they're from your region or not. So I think probably this was a learning experience for like a lot of North American viewers, realizing that EU versus EU can be good. EU versus MENA can be really, entertaining as well. And hopefully that's just gained fans globally. I actually did want to ask you, Ferra, about the Rule 1 series as well. It was like the longest overtime in RLCS LAN history in Game 3. Incredible 1-0 there, but even before then, two other overtimes, 3 overtimes in a row. You won all 3 of them. And then game 4, I think after the long overtime, it was like, oh, well, there's no way Rule 1 are winning this series now, are they? But what are your thoughts on that series with the OTs?
It was really close, but as with pretty much all of the other series we've played outside of the BDS one in the uppers, we felt in control. And yeah, even if it goes to overtime, like I feel like the further we go in the time in years after years, even if you have the better team, sometimes like 5 minutes is not enough to crown a winner, I'd say. It's, I don't know, we still come into the overtimes are like confident, like if we don't do surely they're gonna crack before us, like with a better team, so surely they're gonna crack before us, and that's what happened. We played, it's not just the Rule 1 series, I think we've played the most of the time at the LAN, and I assume we won the majority of them, and like I feel like if you're the better team, sure, sometimes you're gonna lose some, but it's not like it's 50-50. It's like if you're the better team, you still have more chances to win the overtime. So yeah, I don't know. Like we felt pretty confident. We had the upper hand throughout the whole series. They were playing pretty defensive. We had a lot of chances, so we just had to put them in the net. And to be fair, I think that was an issue that happened throughout the whole event for us, mainly against Complexity, Rule 1, and Carmen Corp, where we go to 7 while we genuinely could have swept them, I think. And it's something we have to really work on, I think, for the next event.
In that overtime, Ferra, was it the 29th or the 30th shot that you thought was going in?
I don't know. I don't even remember.
You did that Rule 1 had like 27 saves or something like that. Rowas had 12.
Rowas had 12 saves, yeah. The craziest stat line I've ever seen. But Alpha must be feeling pretty embarrassed about that game. He's the only player who didn't get 1,000 points. So he's going to be furious with himself.
Sure. I think it comes. He was like, well, I'm washed. He looked at the score, but he was like, well, I'm washed.
It's amazing. 1,000 points for everyone except Alpha.
Yeah,
he had plenty of points in other games, so I think overall in that series, actually, he was incredible. The Gen G series the day before as well, Alpha was going crazy. Well, yeah. Did you expect that from Rule 1? They beat Moist, they beat Complexity, they beat Power Crew. They beat actually one team from 4 different regions, lost to you guys and BDS. Was that expected?
Yes and no. It's like we knew they would be better than we scrim them, because we scrim them actually quite a lot, them and Falcons online, but they have like 80 ping or like 90 ping, so it's a bit of a disadvantage. And obviously, like I knew coming to the event that even the scrims beforehand, they were going to be better, but I didn't know by what margin. And then I was, it's a good team. I don't think they were the best, but yeah, top 4 I think is pretty accurate to what their actual skill is right now. They probably could have even made top 3 if the bracket worked another way. Like put them in place of Carmine Corp, and I think they make top 3, right? Because I think the lower half of the winner bracket was much easier than the top half. So
yeah, agreed.
So they're going to be scary for Worlds. Well, we'll talk about Worlds in a moment, but it's interesting. I think the MENA region are going to be one to watch at the World Championships, Rizzo. We'll talk about that in a little bit, though.
Yeah, so as you guys are getting later and later in this bracket, I'm just noticing you're not bringing up any NA teams, and it's kind of hurting me a little bit. Ferra, please just talk to me. Can you give me some cope or anything about the NA teams? Like, do they have any chance at Worlds? Just something.
I mean, the bracket would have been... The whole event would have been extremely different if, that one shot by AGG.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I've been thinking about that a little bit. And I know, like, you're sitting behind the players and you're able to just, like, watch first person. And so, like, as Vitality's not in the net and you see AGG ramping up a shot, are you, like, does your heart sink? Like, did you notice that moment of, like, oh, we can lose right here?
Nah, because I was watching Zen's POV, and on Zen's POV, I felt like it wasn't as clear, as open as it's on stream, because you don't, like, I think it's Alpha who's jumping behind Zen, And when I'm watching from Dan's POV, I'm like, surely there's someone behind, right? And actually, there is not, right?
Surely, right?
Yeah, there's not.
There's no way.
And then it's open, and so we realize it's open, and then it's again open, but for us, and it's like a whole roller coaster of emotions. But as I was watching it, I didn't realize yet it was that open. So yeah, but I'm glad it happened that way. But I feel like
And what does this mean for the North American region?
if that's the most memorable moment of NA this land, that's gonna hurt. I think it is. I think it might.
No, but I don't know. I think you. Okay, with the way worlds work, I do believe NA has a chance to win it, like to win it all, because it's single limb, because everything can happen, and Genji has shown great things. I think at the LAN, they've beat Liquid, which I feel was not gonna be for them at all. As long as they make it to the final day, they're in the quarterfinals, I'd say anything can happen. But the chances are low because of all the teams in Europe are more consistent and they are better. Like there is a gap, and so they can win, they can really clutch it up, but it's gonna take something incredible to be honest.
Something incredible. Okay, that's just
a very polite way of saying that they are not very good.
Saying something incredible.
I think it's fair though.
No,
I feel like
he's not wrong. I'm with them. But...
I mean,
yeah, I feel like it's accurate.
It just depends on the bracket. But say there is an upset somewhere, and I don't know. There is a quarterfinal matchup, and it's actually NA against NA. So that means an NA team is going to be in semifinals, and then you're just 2 series away from winning it. It's just it can happen.
Yeah.
And I think like something like that is going to happen. Whether or not they will make it to the finals, I don't know. But I think there is at least going to be an NA team in the semis.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think so. A lot of people get a bit hung up on this idea that there's a gap. They're like, no, there's not a gap, because a lot of people think that if you say there's a gap between EU and every other region, that means EU is the only region that can win. Then there's there's such a gap that it's impossible for other teams to win. But it's not like the gaps are that big. There's just a noticeable difference in skill and results. But upsets do happen in Rocket League. So and on a day like Worlds, there's more pressure than ever. Probably more variance in a situation like that. It is possible, but it's unlikely.
Exactly. If anyone's has worked with probabilities before, even if we have 90% to win a series, and you have like 3 series to win with that same amount of chances, your chance to win it all are not that high compared to what you might think. And I feel like it's the same for NA. Like I feel like if you put like the best NA team against the best EU team, or like one of the best EU teams, it's probably going to be like 60-40 or like 70-30, which is I don't know. Like if you roll the dice, it can happen. It will happen sometimes. So upsets, sure. Like right now, I think for at least another year, Europe is going to be better. Europe is going to have more like better team, but that doesn't mean NA cannot win events at all. And I think that's been the case for a long time. Actually, I feel like there has been events where NA has won and they were the underdogs, and and it just made it look like NA was good again, but it's just like
season 1 was NA underdog, season 6 NA underdog, season 7 they actually had, I think, was the one season where NA looked better, but then they lost, and then season 8 was pretty even. I think like season 7 and 8, so pre-pandemic, were the 2 best seasons for North America in history. Then you had the one winter split last season, and see people, I think, forget that you can have like anomalies. The winter split, like after we've seen all the other open era events, looks more like an anomaly than like, oh, NA was better. It looks like it maybe this was just the end of a lot of EU rosters. Talent moved around, and they're like, okay, now EU's winning again. But it can happen. We could have another winter split situation or winter major from last season situation where NA does really well. It is one of the possibilities. But I think like EU moved players around pretty well. NA is going to need to probably do the same. I think some of the teams probably should have made changes earlier in the season, and actually some of them, or quite a few of them, tried to, but Rise pulled a masterclass and just like baited everyone, so it just screwed over a bunch of teams. I want to ask Ferra, what are your thoughts on? Well, Optic didn't qualify, Furia didn't qualify, V1 didn't qualify. So the teams from NA that are going to Worlds are Gen.G, FaZe. They've qualified for top 16 already. Then you've got Complexity, G2, and Space Station in the wild card. Do you think that all the NA teams are going to get out of the wild card? Remembering that you've got Falcons in there, Twisted Minds, you got Team Secret, Crew,
Elevate.
Power, G1, Elevate, Moist are in there.
I've seen the whole, the whole wildcard one lineup. Sorry, and I think we're gonna have some crazy upsets. Like I feel like some like teams and even EU teams. I feel like some of them could just not make it to the main event. Like there's only 8 spots, and I can see at least like 10 or 11 teams that can make top 8. So yeah, there is some teams that are gonna miss out, and they're gonna be very surprised about it.
Yeah, I think we saw there's I think it was 11 that we sort of went through the wildcard teams. There's probably 11 that you could realistically see. There's probably 5
and it's pretty even. Like there is no one that really stands out right now. Like maybe Moist, but even Moist, like I don't know,
inconsistent.
Yeah, really inconsistent. Yeah, no one really stands out right now in the wildcard. Whereas last year in the wildcard you had like some teams with like a lot of momentum. I don't know, like Carmine Car, for example. Like some teams stood out last year. This time around,
yeah. There's no one you can like confidently say exactly. They're definitely going to make it out because
complexity maybe.
Well, complexity in wildcard, yeah. Well, sure.
Yeah.
They should be good. Yeah, Complexity should be fine. G1 Oxygen, honestly, who knows? I think Moist should be fine. Moist Complexity, look, if they could bring their spring form, then they should be okay. But every other team looks a bit ropey. Actually, I'll say Space Station. I'm confident Space Station. They're pretty consistent. They're not like consistently the best like team in the world, but they're consistently good enough. So I'll say SSG. I think I'm confident on them.
Yeah, but even if they don't, I'm looking at the other way. If they don't make it out, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, that's crazy. Do you know what I mean?
If they like lost, let's say if they lost to like one of the MENA teams, an EU team, and Complexity, if they just like lost to 3 other very good teams, that's fair enough. It's not actually embarrassing in this wildcard.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like wildcard and with the format and the Swiss and the random draw, it's Well, it's not random, sorry, but like, yeah, to me, it's pretty much random. Like, who wins the series and like the game differential and stuff like that. It just ends up being like randomish. So there is going to be some like crazy matchup for elimination and like crazy matchup for qualification.
Even round 2, guaranteed, there will be some nutty matchup. Yeah, I think round 1 is probably going to have 1 or 2 bangers, and round 2, there's going to be so many. Like all the upper round 2 matches will be ridiculously stacked.
Yeah, so some teams are going to be on the verge of elimination like so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great to watch.
Before we talk about World's expectations for you guys, the final question on the NA topic is, what do you think North America needs to do, or North American players, teams as a region needs to do to improve? Because it does seem like they've fallen behind a bit.
I'll say I don't know the region enough. I've talked to players and asked about them, and it just seems that there is less talent right now around in North America, and that if they had the pool Europe has, they would have given them the chance. I feel like both can be true. Like I feel like they have a tendency to give less chances to newer players, but also their like talent pool is weaker right now. Like it's weaker. So I don't know. I feel like it's gonna take some time, and it's gonna. I feel like they probably like there is a couple teams that should just go full on talent development next season, and just not really like maybe not. I wouldn't say not try to get to the world championship, but be like, okay, we'll just take one pretty experienced player and just take 2 like guys that you think they have a lot of potential and try to develop them and get them as high as you can. And while you do that, maybe there's going to be options opening up, and maybe you're going to find gold, going to struck gold. But I feel like at this point, if you just keep swapping around the same players all the time that have not performed internationally, well, you cannot expect to actually perform internationally. It's like
What do you guys think about the potential for players like either like if you live on the East Coast of the US or East Coast Canada, like you can play on EU servers, you can play twos. Do you think that would be a good idea for players to do?
Actually, yes. Because MENA players, they play on
they play
EU server with a pretty similar ping that you can have
exactly the same
in North America. Because I know I used to play in North America for a while. When I had a really good connection, so sometimes I would have like 70 ping. So when it was like pretty late at night, I would queue in NA back in the days. And
technical issues. Hang on.
Yeah, just ignore CJ. Yeah. So you think it's possible to play like ranked, or is that do you think a good idea to play ranked? Because NA players were in the run up to the major, like a lot of them were saying the EU twos is like very competitive, very fast. Seems like better practice.
They could try, but I think their time zone is at their disadvantage, right? Because when it's late for them, like when it's like 8 p.m. for them, it's 2 p.m. or like 3. No, wait, yes, 8 for them, it's 2 p.m. for us. And no one queues at 2 p.m. It's like everyone is queuing, in the evening, so they'll have to stay up pretty late just to get the chance to get in a good lobbies, right?
They can play. It's the other way around, isn't it? For like NA, they would be like prime time for Europe servers, like the evening, right? So they would just have to play in the afternoon.
No, it's the other way around. Like
when's prime time for EU ranked? Like in the afternoon,
yeah, right.
You think?
No, prime time is like
2 a.m.
10 p.m. 11.
Well, 10 p.m. is
midnight.
fine. That's like 5. That's so like 5 p.m. in East Coast.
Yeah, no, wait. Yes, yeah. I'm actually dumb. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm actually like pretty stupid. It's this way. Yeah, right.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. So NA players, EU ranked. We want to see them over there. Don't worry. You're gonna lose some points because of the ping. Don't worry about it though. It's good practice. Look at the MENA players. Look how fast they're developing as a region. EU2s is where it's at. Maybe we could get a team boot camping in EU. They could just go do a boot camp in Europe, like before the season. One of the NA teams could just like move to Europe and get some practice.
Yeah, I mean, if they have, because it's pretty expensive, right? It's pretty expensive. It's pretty taxing mentally to boot camp.
Actually, NA teams don't boot camp as well. Not full teams. So Vitality boot camp, BDS boot camp, like KC boot camp, Liquid boot camp.
That is
Weiss.
I think
they all made the major.
That's the first step. Like
what's going on?
I'm always surprised that no team in NA, like you see the cams, no team ever boot camps pretty much. Like I think Ferra did it, V1 did it sometimes, but like if you want it to work, you have to be consistent about your habits. Like you can't just.
And I get that they're young and America's a very big country, so maybe it's like too far to travel if they have school. But I feel like boot camps need to be more because Fury and Complexity both boot camped and they both qualified. I think there's something there.
I don't get it. I don't get it. To me, it's like such a big advantage that you have to take it. But like, I guess some teams are just so confident they're gonna make major that they don't do it. But I feel like it's not understanding how Rocket League works and how the format works and how easily it is to just not qualify. So you have to take everything you can. And I feel like those orgs, and especially because salaries in NA are higher, they have more money here. They have more money in NA. Like they should be able to do it. They should do it. Like honestly, like I don't get it. It's you were talking about like what should they do? I think that's the first step. Just like make your team boot camp. That's the first step.
I want to hear from you, Ferra. Talk to us a little bit about your Worlds expectations. I feel like there might be an obvious answer here, but you're saying how the major was your warm up essentially. To get people used to playing on stage again, get that going. And so what are your thoughts for Worlds?
I mean, I think at this point it's either we win it or we are disappointed. So there is no middle ground, unfortunately. And I guess everyone is going to see it as a failure if we don't win. Or like call it a choke. It would not be a choke in my eyes, but because it's single elim. And as I said, even if you have like 90% chances of winning, that's still 10% chances left to lose, right? So the goal is to win. I feel like we come into it with the highest, chances we can have ever. Like that was the plan. The whole season, the plan was just to get to that stage and have the most chances we can to win Worlds. Whether we win it or not, well, I guess, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes things are meant to be. Sometimes things aren't meant to be. And yeah, if we're not meant to win Worlds this season, we'll try again next season. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's an extremely great opportunity for us. We want to win, but I cannot just say, yeah, it's win or we disband and we burn the whole org and we crush the team. And I don't know. No, it's we made it this far. We're really good. Our season is going to be memorable for so many reasons. Sure, topping it off with the World Championship is the goal. But if it doesn't happen, it's not like we're in a bad place either, right? For next season and so on. So, and that's been the story of my career so far, right? If you don't win, just try again. So that's that's the mindset. If we win, great, perfect. If we don't, well, it's okay. It's all after all. It's it can happen, and we'll try to do better for the next one.
And all the prep is set. You're going to be on the grind on the boot camp beforehand.
We actually leave something like in 2 weeks or something. So yeah, it's pretty soon. I feel like the schedule is a bit weird, to be honest. I wish at least one more week of breathing room, but yeah, we have to be back on the grind as soon as possible and get ready for Worlds, and whatever happens.
Well, thank you.
You have Gamers 8 as well, yeah, of course.
What do you say?
Gamers 8, you guys there?
Yeah, there is Gamers 8 the week afterwards, which we also want to win, but it's just so soon, so it's just gonna happen so quickly afterwards that we won't really need to prepare for it, right? We're gonna prepare for Worlds, and just like Gamers 8 is gonna happen right after.
And Zen's gonna queue up some 1v1 and be like, okay, we're good, we're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ferra. We appreciate it as always. So special shout out to him for joining us as a guest tonight. Thank you to CJ and Johnny for co-hosting with me. And thank you to all you guys for watching / listening. If you did miss any part of Chalk tonight, feel free to listen to it on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Also, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Chalkcast. We appreciate you. As always,
please check that out as well. If you want to know, we didn't discuss our thoughts on the World Championship Rizzo because we've got on a Patreon episode as well. So I'm sure the patrons have already checked that out. All of our thoughts on Worlds is out. We're talking about Boston. We're talking about behind-the-scenes experiences, what's happening after the show ends, and also 10 other episodes or something as well. So tune in, get on the Patreon. The links are in the chat, in the description as well in YouTube. Ferra loves it. He's all over the Patreon as well. So make sure you get on there. We've got content coming out every week. You just don't want to miss it if you're all about the chalk. So get on it.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Peace. Bye.